Hello, YouTubers. Welcome to Level Headed News. I'm your host, Brenda, and here we are on the second day of December 2016. This edition, I'm calling this Muslims and Immigration News. We have, let's see, I think 8 articles here to bring you. All the URLs are in the description of the video, so if you want to pull them up and look at any of the links that are in those, or get any further information, there's videos in a lot of them. You can take a look and see what's going on for yourself. I'll bring you the highlights here. The first one is off of thehill.com, and it is entitled Senators Limit Deportations Under Trump. Democratic and Republican members of the Senate Judiciary Committee are working on legislation that would limit deportations if President-elect Donald Trump repeals President Obama's executive orders on illegal immigration. Whip Dick Durbin and Senator Lindsey Graham, both members of the panel, are crafting a bill to shield children living in the country illegally from being deported if they grew up in the United States and have stayed out of trouble. The bill is likely to have the support of another Republican on the committee, Senator Jeff Flake of Arizona. He was a member of the so-called Gang of Eight that put together the Comprehensive Immigration Reform Bill that passed the Senate in 2013. Trump has vowed to repeal Obama's executive orders that halted for people who came to the country illegally at a young age, as well as deportation of parents of citizens and lawful permanent residents. Lawmakers are worried that rescinding those orders would pull the rug out from hundreds of thousands of young people whose parents immigrated to the country illegally. Many of them may have to drop out of school, lose their jobs, and face deportation. Durbin and Graham say they are especially vulnerable because they applied to the government for protection under Obama's executive order known as the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, DACA. They're discussing legislation that would give these immigrants temporary protection from deportation or loss of academic and job opportunities until Congress passes more comprehensive legislation addressing the status of undocumented residents. And I discussed it again this morning, and we hope to even before we leave next week. If our effort to say the new president give these young people a fighting chance, Durbin said on the Senate floor. Trying to avoid the potential chaos of hundreds of thousands of residents having their lives disrupted. You can't blame these kids for coming here. You can't blame these kids for coming out of the shadows. They're out of the shadows, and we now know who they are. If we cancel the executive order, what happens to them? We deport them all? He noted that people in it's jumping around on me. Okay, he noted that people who commit felonies would not be eligible for protection. Flake, whose home state is 31% Hispanic and has been a major portal of immigration in recent years, predicts Congress will have to do something. He wants to work on a solution with the incoming Trump administration instead of attempting to simply countermand an executive order reversing Obama's action. In a discussion with Graham, Flake said, "My preference is to work on something here. Obviously, it's going to involve legislation." He said Obama's executive order was unconstitutional, but added, "I do want to protect kids that were brought here." Senator Susan Collins, Republican of Maine, who in 2005 co-sponsored a bill sponsored by Durbin to grant legal status to children brought to this country illegally by their parents, said she's sympathetic about the disruptions they face. The children, many of whom are now young adults, are often referred to as dreamers because of that legislation known as the Development, Relief, and Education for Alien Minors, or DREAM Act. Sympathetic to people who are brought here when they were very young and often have known no other country, she said. That doesn't mean that we don't need to tighten our immigration laws, but the dreamers are in a different category. Like the sponsors are well short of the 14 Republican votes they would need to overcome a filibuster in the lame duck session. Republican votes they would need next year after Democrats gain 2 seats. Senator John McCain, Republican of Arizona, the co-author of the Senate Comprehensive Immigration Bill of 2013 and co-sponsor of Durbin's DREAM Act in the past Congresses, said Thursday that any bill protecting people who came to the country as children should be included as part of a broader reform package. We've got to do comprehensive immigration reform, of which the Dreamers would be a part. We need not address Dreamers, we need to address comprehensive immigration reform. Be part of it, he said. McCain added that he would prefer not to move a standalone bill such as Durbin and Graham's envision. Durbin told reporters Thursday that he would like to get the bill moving before the 114th Congress adjourns later this month, but he acknowledged it won't likely pass before next year. Democratic leader Charles Schumer, Democrat of New York, the other co-author of the 2013 Comprehensive Immigration Reform Bill, argued when Democrats controlled the Senate that Dreamers should be addressed as part of a broader reform effort. On Thursday, he said he would support Durbin and Graham's measure because Trump's plan to rescind the executive order threatened to create crisis. We believe in comprehensive reform, but this deals with an executive order that the president did, Schumer said. Graham and Flake predict more Republican bills will sign on to the Graham and Flake predict more Republicans will sign onto the bill as the issue gains more public attention. I think we'll have a lot. I think President Trump says this is a good solution to a hard problem, he said. Ask Republicans and Democrats, what do you do with these kids? Graham and Flake say the main objection Republicans had with Obama's executive order was that he circumvented Congress. The problem would be handled in a constitutional way, they argue. Former Senator Dick Lugar, Republican of Indiana, who supported Durbin's DREAM Act when he served in the Senate, said he hopes his fellow Republicans will sign on to the measure. There were Republicans who co-sponsored this. Dick Durbin was chairman of his own several occasions, and I worked closely with him, he said. Lugar said Republican lawmakers may be helpful to the president by finding a workable solution. The next article that I have for you is off of BizPac Review, and this one says, former ICE agent says he's arrested over 1,000 illegal aliens who counters fake voter registration cards. I don't think that's any big surprise, but here's what it says. While there may be some question of how many a former U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agent put to rest any debate over whether illegal immigrants vote in the U.S. elections. Appearing on Fox News, the O'Reilly Factor, retired ICE special agent in charge Claude Arnold spoke of how easy it is for illegal immigrants to get forged documents in America. The popular option being a 3-pack, which includes a counterfeit work authorization card, driver's license, and Social Security card. The going rate for a 3-pack ranges from $120 to $300 and can be acquired the same day as purchased, Arnold explained. Illegal immigrants can then register to vote, and many do, he added. I've worked in 6 locations across the United States. I probably arrested more than 1,000 illegal aliens in my career, and I routinely encountered people in possession of voter registration cards. Arnold went on to say he would ask them during his interrogation if they had voted and was often told yes. That's not just anecdotal. I'm probably closer to 100 people I've encountered, he added, as again talking over him. That works out about 10%, and doing the math with an estimated 12 million illegal immigrants in the U.S., that equates to 1.2 million potentially illegal votes. It should be noted that True the Vote, Election Integrity Organization, agrees with President-elect Trump's claims that illegal votes played a significant role in the popular vote. Perhaps they are onto something. And there's video in this if you would like to take a look at that one. The next one I have is off of westernjournalism.com, and it is New Report, American Muslim Group Arming Up in Anticipation of Trump Presidency. An Islamic group with 22 compounds around the United States is arming up in anticipation of raids by the Trump administration, according to report from think tank that focuses on radical Islam. The Clarion Project bills itself as a nonprofit organization dedicated to exposing the dangers of Islamist extremism while providing a platform for the voices of modernization and promoting grassroots activism. The group reports that the Pakistan-based spiritual leader of Muslims of America, Sheikh Jilani, told top MOA officials known as caliphs to order all unarmed members to obtain firearms, licenses, and hunting permits in order to resist raids on the group's approximately 22 compounds that they expect to happen under the Trump administration. Additional security was also called up, and assault rifles have been mentioned as desirable. I foretold disastrous results should this man be elected as the American president, Gilani said in a statement shortly after Trump was elected president on November the 8th. He has come as a test and trial for the faithful adherents of the holy books. The compounds are simply Islamic communes for mainly African American Muslims who seek to follow Gilani's teachings, setting, Fox News reported. According to the Clarion Project report, multiple sources within the MOA stated the group fully expects the FBI to reopen its cases against them as a homegrown terrorist organization. MOA believed that President-elect Trump is part of the satanic Zionist conspiracy to destroy Islam, and that he is fulfilling apocalyptic end times prophecy. Any action taken against MOA is seen as a part of a war on Islam, a situation that permits violent jihad, the Clarion Project reported. The issue of terrorist training camps in the U.S. came up at a Trump rally in New Hampshire in September 2015 when an audience member asked the presidential candidate, "We have a problem in this country. It's called Muslims. We know our current president is one." Trump interjected incredulously, try that again. "We need this question. Is this the first question?" which drew laughter from the crowd. "We have training camps growing where they want to kill us," the town hall attendee continued. "That's my question. When can we get rid of them?" Trump made no promise to shut them down, but simply responded, "We're going to be looking at a lot of different things, and a lot of people are saying that and saying that bad things are happening out there." He then quickly moved on to the next question. At least from Trump's perspective at the town hall, he did not appear to be convinced that there were any Muslim training camps within the U.S. dedicated to killing Americans. And the next article I have for you is off of the politicalinsider.com and says, "Islamist group arming themselves for confrontation with Trump administration right here in America." It's pretty much more of the same of the last article, but let's go on through this. "An Islamist group with secret compounds and questionable ties to radical organizations is allegedly stockpiling weapons to use in anticipation of raids they believe may be ordered by the Trump administration. These groups aren't collecting weapons in the Middle East. It's happening right here in America. According to reports, the group is fearful of the Trump administration reopening investigations into whether or not the group is a homegrown terrorist organization. Via Fox News, it says, an Islamist group with secretive compounds around the U.S. is arming up in anticipation of raids by the incoming Trump administration, according to a new report from a nonprofit think tank. Muslims of America, which is headquartered in Hancock, New York, and run from Pakistan by leader Sheikh Jilani, operates 22 Islamic villages around the nation. The compounds are legal, but Jilani has recently ordered all unarmed members to gather firearms, licenses, and hunting permits, according to Clarion Project. He believes his group will be targeted by Trump. "I foretold disastrous results should this man be elected as American president," Jilani said in a statement shortly after Trump was elected president on November the 8th. "He has come as a test and trial for the faithful adherents of the holy books." Judge Andrew Napolitanto analyzed the report and explained that as long as the groups are heeding New York state gun laws, they're within their rights to gather up firearms. He did admit, however, that it's creepy for the groups to be stockpiling weapons, not for simple acts of self-defense, but rather because they expect a confrontation with federal government under President Trump. Islamberg is listed on Clarion Project website as a possible radicalized community in the U.S., linked to a Pakistani militant group known as Jamaat ul-Furqa. It claims the group has 22 locations in the United States, with Islamberg in New York being one of the more prominent locations. There is a video that allegedly shows a woman inside Islamberg engaged in guerrilla training, if you want to pull it up and take a look at that. And the article goes on and says, as well-respected Clarion Project also reports the level of advancement of MOA, or Muslims of America, training is not the point. The point is that the MOA is a secretive organization that, in the words of declassified FBI report from 2007, possess an infrastructure capable of planning and mounting terrorist campaigns overseas and within the U.S., and extols membership to pursue a policy of jihad or holy war against individuals or groups it considers enemies of Islam, which includes the U.S. government. If the FBI assessment is accurate, then the Trump administration would be wise to investigate this group's various locations, starting with Islamberg. The next article that I have for you is off of the westernjournalism.com, and it says here, CNN host suggests should wear hijabs shortly before the Ohio State attack. CNN host Aslan Camerota suggested just hours before the Ohio State University attack Monday that Americans should wear hijabs to show solidarity with Muslims. Camerota was responding to a CNN story about anti-Muslim sentiment that placed part of the blame at the feet of President-elect Donald Trump. A woman, Marwa Abglahani, explained to CNN regarding Trump, when you hold that kind of position and you think it is okay to make these racist, Islamophobic, sexist statements, there are people, unfortunately, as crazy as they are, who look up to you and they will follow you and they will act out in response to what you're saying. He was talking on screen. The chyron below her read, the Trump transition, fearful Muslim women take steps to be safe. Which position Trump holds that would be considered Islamophobic. Following the San Bernardino, California terrorist attacks last December, he called for on Muslims entering the country, which he modified last summer to require extreme vetting of anyone entering from regions with known terrorist activity against the United States or its allies. Trump has made the distinction on numerous occasions between Islam and terrorism. When the story ended during an early morning broadcast on CNN's Newsday, Camerota said, maybe there will be a movement where people will wear the headscarf in solidarity, you know, Muslim. Maybe it's the way people shave their heads, you know, sometimes in solidarity with somebody who is going through something, she added. The Ohio State University attacker, 18-year-old Somali refugee Abdul Razak Ali Artan, did not blame Trump, but rather the media for how Muslims are portrayed. I wanted to pray in the open, but I was kind of scared with everything going on in the media. I'm a Muslim. It's not what the media portrays me to be. Look at me, a Muslim praying. I don't know what they're going to be or going to think, he told the campus newspaper, The Lantern, in August. But I don't blame them. It's the media that put the picture in their head, so they're just going to have it, and it's going to make them feel uncomfortable. I was kind of scared right now, but I just did it. I relied on God. I went over to the corner and I just prayed, Artan added. In a Facebook post just minutes before the attack, Artan reportedly vented the United States cited the persecution of Rohingya Muslims in Burma and radical cleric Anwar al-Awlaki, according to NBC News, while CNN's Camerota suggests Monday that Americans should wear network apparently instructed one of its on-air personalities not to wear a cross, who hosted sports segments for CNN until April of last year, tweeted on Sunday. It says, "Any guesses which channel told me it was inappropriate for me to wear my cross on the air?" Has also been forthright in her views about radical Islam. Following the Nice, France terrorist attack in July, she tweeted, "Terrorism. Just call it radical Islamism. It's hate, it's death, it's ideology, and this is it at work." I can't make this stuff up. Next one we have here is off of PamelaGeller.com, and it says, "In wake of Ohio University jihad attack, Amazon rolls out anti-Trump pro-migrant ad." And it is in this article. If you want to pull this up and play this and get a load of this. I cannot make this stuff up. Mercy. This is how the article reads. "As the invasion of Europe brings that continent to the brink of war, left-wing Islamic apologists and their running dogs in the media are working furiously to pressure President-elect Trump to back down from his pledge to stop the same invasions in America. Muslim migrant mowed down and slashed Ohio University students with machete. Amazon launched a pro-Muslim migrant anti-Trump ad. Cultural psyop, Amazon has created an ad that's being promoted heavily in the media. A priest and an imam are sitting down for tea. Do they discuss genocide of Christians in Muslim lands? Do they discuss the creed apartheid under Islamic law? Do they attempt to tackle the worldwide jihad and its millions of victims? No. In the liberal fantastic bubble, they play patty cake and buy presents for each other, even though Christmas is haram and Christians are persecuted for celebrating the birth of Jesus in many Muslim countries. I am sure a priest and an imam can sit down and have a chat, but so what? What about the dead and dying? Anecdotal stories of Demitude does nothing to address the Quranic text and teachings exhorting Muslims to kill the non-believers. What does it do? What it does do is further disarm American people in the information battle space. And then article has this inset in it. It says, "A priest and imam are sitting down for tea. It's not the beginning of a joke. Amazon's newest ad, and it serves up a healthy dose of anti-Trump messaging. And the imam are friends, and they're not getting any younger. They share a hug, imam leaves, and both take out their smartphones and tap on the Amazon app. 2 days later, they receive the same package from each other, knee braces. The priest genuflects without pain. The imam kneels for prayer and feels just fine. If the commercial had come out last year, it would have been unusual, heartwarming stuff, quickly forgotten. But the ad already erupted on social media, even tweeted Amazon's Twitter-shy CEO, Jeff Bezos. And the tweet from Jeff Bezos says, "Love this TV commercial for Amazon Prime. Very proud of our ad team." Amazon's ad offers a not-so-subtle counter argument to some of the angry anti-Muslim rhetoric espoused by President-elect Donald Trump and his supporters. As talk bubbles of Muslim registries and even a potential ban on Muslim immigrants, Amazon's message offers a different approach. "We are people first. We embrace the things that makes us different, but we're all very much the same. Muslims have arthritis too." Amazon spokesman or spokeswoman Julie Law said the ad was not connected to any political movement. This advertisement was produced and booked to appear on TV before the election result was known, so this certainly isn't a reaction to that, she said. Trump has been one of Amazon's most vocal critics. Last December, he went on Twitter triad against Bezos. Trump argued that Bezos had bought the Washington Post in 2013 to persuade Washington politicians to keep Amazon's taxes low and help the company avoid antitrust scrutiny. And Trump said that because he will be tough on Amazon as president. Bezos used the Post to publish nasty articles about Trump in an attempt to keep him out of the White House. This is owned as a toy by Jeff Bezos, who controls Amazon, Trump told Fox News' Sean Hannity in May. Amazon is getting away with murder tax-wise. He's using the Washington Post for power so that the politicians in Washington don't tax Amazon like they should be taxed. Shares of Amazon have fallen nearly 5% since Election Day, $20 billion in market value. Next article I have for you is off of BizPac Review, and it says students call for diversity, officers hid after outrageous Facebook post on the OSU terrorist. Ohio University students are petitioning for the removal of OSU official Stephanie Clemens Thompson after her alleged Facebook post urging sympathy for the OSU attacker, Abdul Razik Ali Artan. And the tweet's on here. It says, "Do not share this post," under her under her name. It says, "Abdul Razik Ali Artan was a Buckeye, a member of our family. If you think it's okay to celebrate his death and or share a photo of his dead body, and I see it in my timeline, I will unfriend you. I pray you find compassion for his life. As troubled as it clearly was, I think of the pain he must have been in to feel that his actions were the only solution. We must come together in this time of tragedy." And again, she says, "Do not share this post." The Daily Caller News Foundation was not able to independently verify the authenticity of the post, and Clemens did not respond to requests for comment. Clemens has reportedly deleted her Facebook page after the incident was widely condemned. Clemens apparently repeated urging for her friends not to share the Facebook post, aware of the controversial nature of her language. Stephanie Clemens Thompson should be removed from her leadership position at the Ohio State University effective immediately, the petition declares to the Ohio State University and OSU President Michael Drake. The Wednesday petition is already at 67 out of its goal of 100 supporters. The petitioning students continue. Stephanie Clemens Thompson knows she crossed a few lines in her disrespectful and misdirected post as her Facebook in an attempt to hide it. Unfortunately for her, thousands of people have seen it and are furious. We are disgusted that someone responsible for molding the minds of our future has the audacity to publish and promote such a dark and twisted narrative in the aftermath of this tragedy. We are urging the leadership of the Ohio State University to react in this incident and ensure that it does not go unpunished and unacknowledged. We are formally asking for the termination of Stephanie Clemens Thompson employment at OSU. Migrated to the U.S. in 2014, NBC News reports, Artan was a refugee whose family left Somalia in 2007, spent 7 years in Pakistan, and became legal permanent resident of the U.S. in 2014. Hours before the attack, Artan reportedly posted on Facebook, "I can't take it anymore. America, stop interfering with other countries, especially the Muslim Ummah. We are not weak. We are not weak. Remember that. We will not let you sleep unless you give peace to the Muslims," he declared. It certainly appears that he was radicalized online. Democratic Representative Adam Schiff of California told the Washington Post after an FBI brief on the attack. And the final article that I have in this episode is off of Breitbart.com, and it says, "Texas State U follows sanctuary campus trend." Texas State University student hopped on the collegiate sanctuary campus bandwagon, petitioning their administrative leaders to declare the school a safe haven for illegal alien students, staff, and community members. 800 student, alumni, faculty, employees, and others signed a petition created on November the 23rd, according to KVUE. Petitioners urged the San Marcos-based university to adopt sanctuary campus policies and uphold the controversial 2012 Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, the DACA program, signed into law by President Obama by executive order. Our vision of a sanctuary campus involves actively and vigilantly protecting Texas State University's most vulnerable population through administrative policies. Events both locally and nationally have demonstrated a need for Texas State University to strengthen its commitment to diversity, states the petition. The document embraces the typical go-to buzzwords of ardent social justice warriors, calling the campus a Hispanic-serving institution that values a diverse population, inclusiveness, a global perspective, and a sense of community. The petitioners support DACA protections. They criticize Texas state officials over hypothetical future actions that could repeal and deport the illegal immigrant students enrolled through the DACA program. Nationally, the U.S. President-elect and his administration have discussed deporting millions, creating a national registry for Muslims, and repealing the Obama administration's order to Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, or DACA. Texas State University's administration has not adequately communicated how it will respond if such actions occur. The lack of communication regarding the DACA is particularly concerning. Undocumented students with DACA are extraordinarily vulnerable due to the information they have provided to the government. The DACA orders safeguard students from deportation, grants them work authorization, and enables them to obtain driver's licenses. Clear whether or how quickly government agencies will take action against students with DACA status, the potential threat of deportation will certainly have deleterious effects upon individuals and the university community at large. The petitioners assert that the university administration and the associated student government must take action to remedy their commitment to diversity by declaring campus sanctuary for undocumented students, workers, and community members, and refuse to release student information to anyone. They also want policies that allow DACA students, if arrested, detained, and/or deported, to complete their college degrees online. Although the crux of the petition leans heavily on protecting DACA students, the Texas State U newspaper traced the document's inception to hostility and hate speech on campus and recent threatening vigilante flyers posted on campus attributed to alleged and an unrelated student tragic suicide. For this, petitioners request the university shores up protections, counseling service, and advocacy networks to do better or to better serve underrepresented student body populations such as immigrants, blacks, LGBTQIA Muslims. The petitioners task the associated student government with creating a committee that would devise multiple unspecified solutions, address the need and concern of vulnerable populations affected by potential immigration policies. This think tank would report its findings to the student body in a timely manner and must enact the best policies while complying with the university's legal obligations. On Tuesday, petitioners presented the signed document to University President Denise Trouth at a Bobcat United roundtable hosted by the student government. According to the University Star, student Julia Estrada, president of the League of United Latin American Citizens, or the LULAC, attended and told the campus newspaper, "As a Latino-serving institution devoted to diversity, it should be our objective to represent all students, documented ones." The push for sanctuary campus status in response to President-elect Donald Trump's immigration proposals that include building a wall along the U.S. southern border and banning sanctuary cities, also a longstanding priority for Texas lawmakers. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick placed it as top initiative for the state's upcoming 85th legislature. Breitbart, Texas recently reported State Senator Charles Perry, Republican Lubbock, filed SB 4, a bill to eliminate sanctuary cities in the Lone Star State. Last year, Governor Greg Abbott signed into law toughest border security bill by any U.S. state. He called for the end of sanctuary cities in Texas after admonishing a Dallas County sheriff for easing back on immigration holds for jailed immigrants. Abbott made clear sanctuary city policies will no longer be tolerated in Texas. So that's what I have for you in this episode. If you like it, give it a thumbs up, share it around, get the word out here so that people know what's actually going on since they can't get it off mainstream. And give me some comments. Let me know what you think. Till the next episode.